going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to look at the entirety of the Starro wave. And obviously, you're seeing that Starro is missing here, but not to worry, I just couldn't fit him in the frame. So we'll start off with the figures here, and then we'll move on to the Starro collect and build. Okay, and starting off with Power Ring here, he does include one of his little baby Starros, and each of these Starros are, there is a variation between them. And just to kind of point that out, because each figure does include one, I'm not sure which particular one came with which, but as you can see, the eyes are actually looking in different positions, which is pretty cool. I think a nice little, cute little variation for that. Like this one's looking all the way over to the right or left, depending on how you're holding him here. And this one's looking straight on. This eye is actually a little bit more cloudy than I would, it seems. But they do just fit right on the chest of the figure. And I'll actually just bring in Mr. John Kent here, and he'll be our little training dummy, whatever you want to call him. But we'll get this on him. Let's figure out how we're doing this here. We'll go that way. So that's kind of how you want to have it fit on there. I mean, there's multiple different ways you could have it adjusted. But essentially, this is what it'll look like with him on the chest. The inside of the mouth, and let me just adjust my lighting here so we can see. Really cool. We can see the mouth in there, and this is just begging for a paint job here. And I'm probably going to end up custom painting all of the insides and the tentacles and the suction cups here for the little baby Starros here. But there's the inside of the mouth and everything. Yeah, definitely going to have to give these guys, these little babies, a a little custom paint job. So, but they're really cool. I love that this is a little accessory, and it makes perfect sense. It's cohesive. It's thematically correct, and I enjoy this. And you know, this is something that I was begging Marvel Legends to do for years. Just do waves that actually make sense and have themes and tones and go together, and they're just all over the place over there at Hasbro. But moving on back to the figure itself, he also comes with a figure display stand. It's the typical DC figure display stand that I currently have Carrie Kelly on right now. But there it is, says the DC logo on there. And he also does come with a trading card, and, you know, it's your typical trading card. It's just a figure, or excuse me, a photo of the figure. But the figure itself, I think, looks really good. This is a very nice piece right here. He does have the ring sculpted into his hand right there on his left hand. You'll have to excuse me. I'm kind of going through some allergies, so hear me sounding a little bit funky or weird. That's why. But the figure, as far as his articulation does go, his head can swivel in a full 360 rotation if you needed to. His head can also look up, just like so. His head can look down. Really good range of motion looking down. He can also tilt side to side. And we've just got some jive turkeys up in here. So there's some jive turkeys for you. Arms go up, down, full 360 rotation in the arm. Butterfly joint. I almost said upper thigh swivel. He does have a bicep swivel right here, and he does have a double jointed elbow right there. So that is really nice as far as that's concerned. Good range of motion in the elbow, and the elbow does go perfectly straight the way you need it to. He does have a swivel at the wrist, and he does have a hinge joint. He does have a lateral and a vertical hinge joint. All you have to do is rotate that little ball joint, and then hold the ball joint, rotate the fist, and now he can do the vertical hinge joint. So there you go. That's all you have to do. He does have a diaphragm joint, which is very limited. I kind of wish that they would allow more for crunching forward. That's really been the pet peeve, I think, for me with Mcfarlane figures. That and the thigh swivels are very anatomically correct, and they're extremely limited. So if we could free this up, and we can free this up a little bit more, Todd, that would be great. But the crunch does go back about that far, and it does go forward just on that. It does pivot side to side decently, and it can swivel a little bit. Actually, pretty decently if you push it a little bit further. He can swivel at the waist as well. He can also crunch forward, so he does get a little bit more forward with that waist, but it does push on that ball peg. So trying to be careful, don't snap your ball peg off. Waist goes back about that far and pivots side to side. Like I said, upper thigh swivel is anatomically correct, and it is very limited though, so you're not getting a whole lot of fun out of that. Even if they just did a cut joint here, I feel like that would just work, especially with lined up figures like this, like the Parallax body. I feel like you could sneak that in and people would appreciate it more. Legs go forward, legs go back. He popped off the joint there. Let's see if we can pop that back on. What the heck? God, I'm glad I got this on camera, because I have never seen that happen before with a Mcfarlane figure. Let's hope that hinge stays in. He can do the splits about that far, so look out for that. That seems like some sort of quality control concern, because I've never seen the hinge. I've seen them slide out of the peg joint, but I've never seen them dehinge before, so that's a little weird. He does have a double jointed knee, and that's really good. And then he can pointy toe, pointy heel, ankle pivot, ankle swivel, all that fun stuff. And I am noticing there's actually like a lot of lubricant in, and you can almost see that right in his abdomen and even on his elbows. I've noticed a little bit of that, like kind of like manufacturer lubricant for the joints. So there's a little bit there. Love this head sculpt. The head sculpt looks absolutely great. I love it, and it does kind of remind me of White Eyes Jon Stewart. So I'm really digging that. Love the sculpt of the Power Ring logo on the chest here. And overall, the line work looks pretty solid on him. There's a couple parts where it gets a little bit hazy, like right here, maybe in near the armpit area, but that's the armpit area. You don't see too much of that. Little bit fuzzy over here as far as that thigh goes. But I'd like the sculpt. I think it looks really good. And obviously it's meant more for Parallax, but I think it does work for the figure. All right, and next up we've got Owlman, and I like the original sculpt on him. I don't know if there's too many used parts on him. I've seen a lot of new stuff. I would have preferred some closed punching hands with him, because he does only come with these open hands, and maybe an owl ring or two. That would have been nice. He does, like I said, he does come with one of these, and that's essentially it. He does come with a display stand and obviously the obligatory Mcfarlane trading card, but I feel like he's just a little bare bones for what kind of character he is. And I would say the same thing for maybe Power Ring too. Maybe he should have came with some sort of construct. That would have been nice, or even just like a blasting effect or something. But there is a lot of new tooling going on here. There's a lot of, this might be an all new mold, to be honest with you. But the body itself, I think, looks really good. I really like this design for Owlman. I liked the new 52 one because it was such a departure from this type of version, which I'm kind of used to that. What was it? Crisis on Two Earths animated movie. This is more of that kind of Owlman, or the DC Universe Classics 5-pack Crime Syndicate look. I would say those are, between this one and that one, they're very close as far as how they would look. Now, obviously, this is not that. This is the Crime Syndicate. I believe it was like a 4-issued run, and that's what this look is based on, the current comics, a Rebirth look. And I still like it. It's not a total departure from what he looked like, and obviously he's much better than the original look for him, but I really do like it. And I like the sculpt of his cape here. I've always liked the Owlman design when it's a little bit more modern. Like I said, his first look was a little I don't know, it looked a little weird. But this version, always really cool, especially with the the kind of owl claws that he's got. He's a little bit more of a, I always call him kind of a, I don't know, he's kind of a bastard when you think about it. This guy's kind of a jerk. The gauntlets themselves, all new sculpt right here, looks really good. Like I said, he's even got little knuckle dusters on his fists, which looks really good. You can see the armor that he's got here. It looks really good. The owl symbol right there. Not only there on the chest, but also right here on the belt. I think it looks really good. They did a very good job on this. I even like the little kind of in-between where his rib cage would be. All of that protruding armor that's kind of sticking out all up in your face. I love it. I think it looks really good. And there's the legs. Nice, really good line work with the legs and everything. This feels almost more like a Page Puncher's figure. You know, because Page Punchers have all that nice sculpting and such. There's not a whole lot of paint detail going on here. There's a lot more sculpting than paint detail, but I really do like it, and I think it works, and it does. The line work actually builds natural shadows, which kind of works. It kind of stops it from having that wash, but I bet you a nice little light wash would help this with bringing out more of that detail, especially in the chest area, I want to say, for the most part. The face sculpt, probably the most important part, right? Always, to me, the most important part of an action figure is the face sculpt. Did they nail it? I think they did. I think they did a really good job with this face portrait. And, yeah, nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. I've always loved Owlman's design as far as his helmet goes and everything. I think it looks really cool. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for sculpt, paint, detail, all that fun stuff. Let's move on to articulation. His head can swivel side to side. Can do a full 360 rotation if you wanted to. Head can look up really well. So if you want to have him looking up at Superman or looking for Batman or whatever, you could do that. Head looks down really well too. It can also pivot side to side right there. So really good range of motion in the head. And we got jive turkeys for an Owlman. I'm telling you, man, one day I'm just going to make Turkey Man. Turkey Man's going to be a comic book hero. And that's going to be his, like, calling card. Like, when the turkey signal goes up, and you're just going to hear all over the place. And then criminals are going to run for their lives because Turkey Man's coming. Anyway, arms go up about that far, go down. He can get his arm. It's a little bit hindered due to the cape, but this is still a little pliable plastic right here. You can still get the arms to go all the way up and around if you want to. He does have that, butterfly joints, swivel at the bicep, a double jointed elbow. No glove swivel or anything like that, but we do have wrist swivels, same kind of, I actually want to say that these ball joints are they feel a little bit different, but they are a vertical ball joint, and also if you switch it around, you can get the lateral, so back and forth as well. He is very limited in the torso. I mean, I really kind of got to push him to get him to go back like that, and that's even using the waist joint too. So that's him back. This is him forward with the waist joint, and that's neutral. This is pretty much neutral right here. That's crunching all the way forward. It's not too bad. It's just, it feels super, super tight. Like, I'm sure if you pop this off and dremeled some of that out, you would be able to get him to move forward and back a lot more fluidly. He can pivot side to side. He can swivel really well, actually, in that torso. And pivot side to side, like I said. He can also swivel at the waist a little bit. Yeah, there we go. We just had to loosen it up. And he can pivot forward and back and side to side as well. Legs can go forward about that far. They can go back. He can do the splits perfectly because he's going to need to. You know, he's a very agile character. He can swivel at the thigh a lot better than Power Ring can. So there's that. He can double joint those knees. He can pointy toe, pointy heely, and ankle pivot. He's a little bit more limited on the ankle pivot with this guy. He's kind of more of wanting to be just a swivel there's a little bit of an ankle pivot, and it's not that impressive, I'm going to be honest with you. He does have toe joints, so does Power Ring as well. I don't think I pointed that out, so I apologize. But okay, and next up we've got Superwoman here, and this is, like I said, different take on Superwoman. I'm used to her having longer hair, but you know what? This is a welcomed different look, I think. I like when things, they feel the same while still looking different with an update. I always enjoy that. I enjoy variety, and I enjoy the variety that she's actually giving us here. I like how, like, they got her, like, feeling right. Like, she's thicker in the thighs, and I know in the comic she's actually not as thick as this, but I think this really would have been weird if they went with a skinnier look for her, like they have her in the comic. At least certain panels that I've seen, she's kind of skinnier than I would expect Superwoman to look. So I don't know. Personally, I think she looks really good. I love like I said, the body structure for her, I think, is top notch. Even the knees, the knees, some people don't like the knees. They're a little bit she's too long-legged. And I'm like, lots of people have long legs, so let's get over it, people. This portrait, I think, looks pretty good. Some people, she looks a little bit Karen-y, like she wants to speak to the manager a little bit. But yeah, I think that's mostly the haircut. She, like I said, she's a little bit of a thicker woman. She's kind of giving off a little bit of current Gina Carano vibes, I want to say. That might be actually a good casting if they ever did a Crime Syndicate of America in live action. Maybe go for Gina Carano for Superwoman. That would probably make perfect sense, I think. Plus, she's already played a villain before in Deadpool, so perfect. Go for it. But the head sculpt, I think, looks pretty good. She does have like a little bit of like paint shading going throughout, maybe around the eyes a little bit, and maybe it's probably not picking up on camera so much. So let me try and adjust my lighting so you guys can kind of pick up on that a little bit. I don't mean to darken it too much, but I felt like I was oversaturating a little bit there. But there's a little bit of like almost like eyeshadow or blush or something going on there. And she is a little bit on the pale side, I'm not going to lie. She's not been out in the sun too much, but I still like it. I like this outfit. It's very unique looking, and I just like the uniqueness of it. She's got this nice little S sculpt right here on her kind of collared piece. She's got her gauntlets right here. Looks really good. Like I said, the line work on the, I guess you want to call these heels, these kind of ribboned heel boots. The line works pretty good. I don't have too much sloppiness going on. I'll just kind of give you guys a little quick rotational look at those. For my copy, it looks pretty good. The feet as well look pretty good. No issues there. Here's the back of the skirt. If you lift up the skirt, she just kind of has an underwear on there. She's got some booty cheeks right there, so you can check out the booty cheeks if you want to. The back, everything, I want to say all the skin tones pretty much match here. As far as her articulation does go, her head can swivel, and it kind of like does this like tilt swivel where I'm swiveling it straight, right? And it's tilting that way. It's weird. I think it's because she's on a ball peg. And I'm not a big fan of that. She's kind of hindered in the head and neck area, which kind of is a bummer. Now, there's a lot of female figures that can't really do the I'm going to look up thing. That's about neutral for her. And that's looking up. So there's not too much there to work with. Looking down, I mean, I would have at least liked her to be able to look down on people. You know, if she's floating down or whatever. So the head, I would say it could be better. That I'll say. Arms go up about that far. They go down. She's a little bit loose in this arm. It's like super duper loose. But they can go down. Full 360 rotation in the arm. No hindrance there. The butterfly joints right there. She does have a bicep swivel. Let me kind of hold that arm while I swivel it. And it does kind of break up the sculpt a little bit. That's a little weird. I just noticed that now. But it's a little weird. But you still get a swivel at the arm as well with that bicep swivel. Yeah, that's kind of, whoa, a little weird. Double jointed elbows right there. And she does have a wrist swivel, and the vertical and lateral hinge joint just have to swivel the ball joint around. She does not have a diaphragm joint or anything like that, but she can swivel at the waist. She can pivot side to side. She can crunch back. She can crunch forward a little bit. She can do the splits about that far, so good job with the splits, because she is, she can kick your head off, man. Legs go forward. Legs go back, a little bit hindered due to the skirt in the back. She does not really have much of an upper thigh swivel at all. She does have a double jointed knee. Good range of motion there in the knee. She can pointy toe, pointy heel. She's got ankle pivot, and she's got swivels, and she's got the toes, which, whoa, that's a broken toe right there. All right, so here is Ultraman right here. I think he might be my favorite in the wave, to be honest with you. It's kind of a toss-up because I like each one for different reasons, but this, I don't know. He just looks like such a douche, and I love it. I love it. He looks like, oh, I am so superior to everyone. But he's kind of got that bro voice. Like, I always picture Ultraman, like, tone of voice. Hey, bro, I'm a know-it-all, bro. Like, don't talk to me that way, or I'll bounce you, I will bounce you, okay? You don't want none of that in your life, all right, bro? I don't know. I guess to just picture that. I'm not trying to diss anybody from New York City or anything like that. I don't know. I just get those vibes from him. That's always what I've imagined. He's kind of a, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a doofus, but he thinks he's so much smarter and better than everybody, and because of his power and whatnot. But that's just how I've always pictured him in my head whenever I see Ultraman. But I love this head sculpt. This head sculpt is like one of my favorites. It's just the flowing hair and the red eyes, and I just love it. A lot of people actually like this for like Superboy Prime, and they like it for maybe a Jonathan Kent. But I think this is too kind of grown up for both of those. I think this looks a lot more like what it's supposed to be. Ultraman. It looks really good. Maybe you could go for like a Superman, and he's flying and his hair's flowing one side or whatever. Maybe the wind picked up. But I personally like this guy. He's kind of on that like Rebirth body-esque type situation going on. Obviously, he does have different pieces to him. The diaper piece, which I don't mind the diapers. They don't really bother me. I see a lot of people complaining about diapers, but yet they have, Storm Collectibles figures, which those diapers are horrible. So I don't know. Personally, the diapers don't really bother me that much. I'm not going to get all bent out of shape over the diaper situation. True to form, I think he looks just like he does in the comics. I think it's an accurate portrait for the character. I like the Ultraman symbol right here, the upside down Superman logo with the U. I think that looks really good, and it's sculpted right into the chest, as you can see right there. The little, I guess you call these belt pieces, torso belt pieces. Those are all sculpted in there. You got 1, 2, and 3 on the side there. There's what the back looks like. He's got some nice line work sculpted into the body, and that might be left over from the Rebirth Superman. But we do have some line work right here for Ultraman, and this is a new torso piece. We also have a new sculpt for the cape, and I think the cape looks good. It flows, it kind of folds a little bit forward, and I like that. I like the variety that we're getting with the different types of folds and kind of how these different type of Superman capes hang. I think it looks really good. And if you wanted to customize this and maybe throw this on a Superman, you probably could. As far as his articulation does go, the head can swivel side to side, full 360 rotation in the head. He's got pretty decent range of motion too. Head can look up, and just by the head, I mean, you can get him into those flight poses just by using his head. And then you could use the ab crunch, and you can get him even looking further. But I think even with it at neutral, I think the head gets up just enough where it's perfectly fine like this, The head can look down a little bit. That's about neutral right there. And that's about down right there. And then we can tilt side to side. And then we got some jive turkeys right here. Arms go up about that far. They go down. Full 360 rotation in the arm. You do have butterfly joints. This one's really stiff. And that one's, fluid. So that one works. He does have a bicep swivel, which is very limited, I want to say. This one's a little bit better. I want to say this arm's a lot better, more fluid than this one. This one's kind of all stiff and stuff. Double jointed elbow. It looks a little bit ugly when we look at it like that. I'm not going to lie. That looked weird. But I got to say that that looks weird. That looks a little weird right there. Not going to lie. But he can do it. Look at the range of motion in his back. That is fantastic. Even though it breaks up the sculpt right there, which is a deal breaker for a lot of collectors. I love the range of motion, though. I will take that. And crunching forward just at that diaphragm joint. If you push the waist, he's really looking forward or down or however you want to look at it. Pivot side to side, pivot in the waist, and pivot in the diaphragm joint as well. Swivels at the diaphragm, swivels at the waist. We've got splits. We've got legs going forward. We've got legs going back. We've got upper thigh swivels, swiveling. We've got double jointed knees and double jointing. We've got ankles pointy-toey, pointy-heely. We've got ankles pivoting and swiveling and all that fun jazz, and toes bending unnaturally. Okay, so the build for this character and the length of this character is, for some, it's going to bother some that he's not as big as we would all hope. But I got to say he's bigger than I think it was DC Direct that came out with the first one. He's bigger than that version, and that's more of the classic look. This is definitely the largest Starro that I think we're going to get. And I thought it was pretty brilliant on Mcfarlane Toys' part to go with this. He does have, I'm moving my whole back set. He does have bendy wires in the tendrils, or the tentacles, I should say. It's kind of limited. I'm not going to lie. It's not the most bendy that you could ask for. It more so wants to bend forward than back in towards itself. So you're going to get some of this. You'll get a little bit of that, and you'll get some of these. And keep in mind, this is a rather large collect and build right here. I'll try and get him to see if I can get him to bend these legs, but yeah, he's also going to need a display stand. You're not, unless that, either that or you're going to have to kind of put him up against something like that, because he does not stand on his own. Obviously, he is essentially a big old starfish. The eyes look really cool, and I've seen some cool customizers, man. There's some really good customizers out there that actually are removing this piece off, and then they're putting like LED lights in there and stuff like that kind of pulsate, so you can see the eye kind of pulsating and stuff like that. I don't know, that's definitely a really cool idea to do. I don't know if I'm going to do all that. I'm definitely going to do a custom paint job to this, so maybe I'll do like an update video with the custom paint job done, and we'll do before and after photos, kind of like what I did with the Mcfarlane Spawn Throne. Flipping it around to the other back, we can see all the suction cups and this kind of disgusting, almost sarlacc pit looking mouth. It's disgusting and horrifying, but it looks really cool. I want to say for the most part, there is detail in between where the mouth is. It does start lacking a little bit of detail towards the suction cups and the kind of pop on limbs. Little bit could have been used for some shading and stuff like that, but like I said, I'm definitely going to go and paint this entire thing. Maybe do some pinks and some reds in there, some blacks, just to kind of give it some depth to it. But I think this is a really solid collect-and build. This might be one of the best collect-and builds that they've done. Just strictly, even if you're basing it off of how unique he is. He is great, I think. And he does have customizable options. There's plenty of people out there that I've seen on YouTube that are customizing this, and even on the Facebook pages, like the Mcfarlane Toys page, where a lot of people are having a lot of fun customizing this collect and build figure. Like I said, if I could improve one thing, it would definitely have been to maybe make these bendy wire arms a little bit more bendy. Maybe make the limbs a little bit longer, just maybe about an inch or two, just so you can get more of a bend. But, you know, still, at the end of the day, I'm pleased to have a Starro. I don't mind if it's the more modern version. It doesn't have to be classic for me. And I love these little babies, and he can hold his little babies if you want to have him hold the babies. And he can shoot them off at people if you want him to. See, look, he's a little decorative Christmas ornaments. You know, you can put Christmas ornaments on him. You can put him at the top of the tree if you want to have him at the top of the tree, that would be pretty funny if somebody put a Starro on top of their tree. That would be hysterical, I think. But you could have his little babies attached to him and just kind of have him waddling down the street like he kind of crapped his pants. You know how people do the crap the pants waddle? You know, you could do that, you know? And then on the back side, there you go. But I think this is definitely a 2 thumbs up as far as Starro goes, and I love the inclusion of the little Starro babies. Good job, man. Good job, Mcfarlane Toys. Very pleased with this. So, okay, so for my final thoughts on this collect and build Starro wave, I gotta give this a 2 thumbs up, way up, and definitely would recommend it. Yeah, there's some reuse with Power Ring, but the rest are, I mean, you're getting a lot of new sculpts with the rest of them. We've got Ultraman here kind of checking out his own, you know, he's like, hey, check out these guns, bro. And then we got poor Power Ring back here. He's like, oh, God, this again. And then these two are just ignoring him, and they're like, oh, we've got work to do over here, you know? They're plotting against him, these two right here to take over, but like as usual. But I love the Starro babies. I love Starro. I like each and every one of these figures. I can't wait to get Johnny Quick. I'm sure he'll be a gold label down the road. I'm not too worried about it. I think these 4 fit the bill. But if you do come out with Johnny Quick, you gotta come out with Atomica, and so we can round out the rest of this crime syndicate of America. But I think this is definitely a must get for any DC fan, or even if you're just a fan of, you know, the Mcfarlane line in general. I think go pick them up. I mean, these are definitely worth the price of admission, I think. Could they have included some more accessories with these guys? Yes, they could have. Flight stand with him, construct with him, her fist hand, and him owlman and maybe fist hands. And that would have probably made this a absolute 10 out of 10. But I get it. It's probably due to budgetary stuff and Starro, you know, getting a lot of that probably budget for the wave. And you wouldn't have got the Star Babies if you got all that. So, and I have plenty of flight stands, so he can get his flight stand from somebody else. So not the end of the world, but definitely a 2 thumbs up. Go check them out. Go get them. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always. Please do hit that subscribe button if you like the content that you're seeing. And hit the like button too. It takes 2 seconds and it does help the channel quite a bit. And if you want to become a member, you can do that as well. I've now added the membership onto the channel. So if you want to do that and help out the channel even more so I can just do this for a living, that'd be great. Other than that, that's pretty much it for me, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.